So, hi, this is DeAnna, and I'm here with my friend Brooklyn, and we wanted to talk to you today about going to guide dog school and even more importantly, what it might look like when you first come home with your guide dog.
Right. So I guess I thought the school would be the hardest part because you're there for 3 weeks with our school. I went to Southeastern Guide Dogs in Palmetto, Florida, and that's where I got Lolita almost a couple years ago now. And I thought learning all these commands and just the overwhelming information that you had to
Mm-hmm.
comprehend was going to be the hardest
Yeah.
part. But that was it was difficult. They were long days and it was a lot to take in a short amount
Mm-hmm.
of time. But I think transitioning home and applying what I learned at the school to my home environment, but then also integrating her into my personal life with my family was probably a
Yes.
trickier part. So,
Yeah, I would agree. Kindley's from Guiding Eyes for the Blind, and at the time I went, it was also a 3 week residential program, and it was really intense hours. I remember being incredibly excited and really tired, but it was kind of like you were in a bubble because your only real responsibility during those 3 weeks was to get to know your dog and to learn how to work with your dog. You had not the regular daily life responsibilities. So I agree with Brooklyn. When we came home, now you're trying to remember everything you've learned,
mhm,
like through a, what do they say, through a water hose,
yeah,
a fire hose, and apply it. And also you forget, or maybe I didn't think as much about how it also is integrating the dog, not only with you, but into the whole family.
right. So I think we're probably at a little bit of different phase in life.
Right.
At the time when I came home, my son was 6, and so he's so excited, right? He's getting a dog, and but it's not a regular dog, and so there were some
Yeah.
rules that had to be in place and setting some strong expectations. I think adhering to those rules,
Hmm.
I was really strict with it for 90 days. I thought if we could get past these 90 days, and I think if you can commit to that, it'll set you up for success. But kind of limiting the interaction and then setting the expectations as what she can do at different times, right? So when she's on
Exactly.
harness, don't give her commands, don't give her food, or any of those things. She has to be focused on me. But afterwards, when she's home and she's playing in the yard, that's
Mhm.
when she's more like just a dog.
Like a family dog
Yes.
almost.
So
Exactly.
but that I think that time at home is so important with the bonding because you need to be the most important thing in her life or your dog's life, because from a safety aspect I don't want her thinking my husband or my son's more fun or exciting and then
Right.
see him across the road and potentially put me in a dangerous spot. So
Exactly.
I think we stuck to it, and
Uh-huh.
all good things come from mom, right? So all the grooming, all the food, everything good comes from me, even still, where maybe you guys are kind of at a
Right.
different point in your
You're at
life.
2 years?
We're 2 years.
Cheers. We're a 7 year team, so I followed pretty much exactly what Brooklyn is describing. And let's just be honest, that's a little hard sometimes.
Right.
And we're Southern ladies, and so you don't want to hurt friends or families'
Mm-hmm.
feelings about this. But you think about it, you've just really met this dog 2 or 3
Right.
weeks. Some schools, they're only there 2 weeks together. So you're trying to forge this bond that it's not like a marriage, but in a weird way, it's kind of akin to a very personal relationship. And if your family is far more exciting, or like she
Mm-hmm.
said, if you confuse a dog by other family members issuing commands to the
Mm-hmm.
dog when they're in harness, that's really confusing and not good for the bonding and not really safe.
Right.
So we've been together 7 years now. Andrew, my husband, now we do switch out with feeding, and she's adapted to that fine now. But for the first, like you said, 6 months or
Right.
so, I did exactly what Brooklyn is describing. And so the thing I found, I just had my spouse in my house, and other than my white cane, he had really served as my sighted guide for
Mm-hmm.
years. And I'm sure your husband was
Mm-hmm.
probably even your son,
Yeah.
right?
For
A
sure.
little protective of
Yeah.
you.
For sure.
So there was that aspect of I was learning to trust her, but I didn't really think that my husband had to learn to trust
Mm-hmm.
her, taking care of me as well. So I think both of us just want to encourage people,
Oh, for
right?
sure. And I think once you get home, give yourself some grace, give your
Yeah.
dog grace, definitely, but then also your family. You've had that time to learn all these things, but give your family time to learn as well. Um, and just know it's not going to be perfect. It may look a little fumbly, in the
Yes.
beginning, and that's okay. They say it takes a solid year to form a good bond and be a solid guide dog team. And so just give yourself that grace and know that there is still work to be done when you get home, but the reward is you've got that independence and that freedom and safety with your dog.
It is so worth it. And just to reiterate what she said, I think when I first came home, I had been really proficient with the white cane. You have to do that before you get a guide dog. And the first few months were probably honestly a little harder because I was learning my dog. I wasn't used to the public interacting with her and managing all of that at one time. But everything that's worthwhile that I know of takes work. It takes work. And I think we both want to encourage you, if you're in this situation, put in the work because it's so worth it, right?
Right. Temporary pain for a long-term gain.
Exactly. Exactly. So anyway, we really appreciate you listening. We hope you got something from the video. And if you like this kind of content, there's a like button below. And if you're a guide dog handler or even a family member, right, we would love to see your comments and share your experiences. And if you like this kind of content, just follow the channel. Thanks.